So how did we start then through your recovery journey? Just you're an active guy, you're a doer. When was the point that I don't know. I'm a storyteller, so I kind of vision this night. You're sitting there reading, the missus reading, you look at her and you go, I'm gonna swim and raise money for causes I believe in.
I wish it worked like that, but it was so I was at Silver Hill and I heard this guy talk. He was from Ireland, had an awesome Irish accent, and someone before the meeting, I was so nervous about finding a sponsor, and I was like, I feel like I'm like asking someone out on a date. I don't know who it's going to be. This is like really awkward. And meanwhile, I wasn't used to being in social situations without having a good buzz on. So I hear him talk, and he talks about how he was a former marathon runner and how he was doing triathlons. And I was like, that's so cool. Like, he's got to be my sponsor. So I went up to him after the meeting and I said, Ken, will you be my sponsor? He was like, yeah, I'll be your sponsor. And I said, oh, and do you think I could learn how to swim? Because I'd love to do triathlons like you, because that sounds so cool. He was like, yeah, like I learned how to swim. No problem. You can do it. So right after I got out of rehab, 5 weeks later, I got a gym membership and I kind of taught myself how to swim. I could swim a little bit, but like not proper swim.
Mm.
So I ended up doing one length, two lengths, and then four lengths, and then eight lengths. And after 3 months, I'd done enough to be swimming like a quarter of a mile. So I signed up for a sprint triathlon, and I actually did okay. Like I was kind of middle of the pack for the swim. I was like, that was awesome. And I did triathlon for about 7 years, really competitively. But the problem is that I have a really competitive mentality. And for me, if you're ever doing something that is no longer enjoyable as an activity or a sport, you probably should switch and find something new. And I found myself at the starts, like looking at people's calves and looking how old they were. I'm like, I'm going to kick your butt. I'm going to kick your butt. I'm going to kick your butt. Like, and it was just like, this is so, I was like, you're crazy. I would go home and be like, and I was doing well and I was ready to be just done with it. So I did a like 2 mile swim in Rhode Island. And I was like, that was not bad at all. Like I can do that. And I signed up for a 12 and a half mile swim around Key West, which was the Florida
Wow.
Keys Community College swim. And it was really hot. But I thought, you know what? Great excuse to go down to the Keys for a weekend to take my twin brother down there, who's also in sobriety, and we'll have a blast. He'll be my support kayaker, and we'll do it. And it was not a piece of cake, but it wasn't bad. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like I can keep going with this. And from that point on, I did a 20-mile swim around the island of Jamestown, and then a 19-mile swim from Block Island to Jamestown. And then I swam the whole distance of Narragansett Bay from Providence all the way down to Jamestown, Rhode Island. So,
Wow.
um, and the best thing about it is that like I'm not even like a really good swimmer. Like if anybody watches my movie, like real swimmers, they'd be like, dude, seriously, look at your catch, look at your pull, like look at your kick, look at your breathing. You're not a great swimmer, but I don't care because I
Yeah.
just do it for myself. I'm not doing it for anyone else. Um,
Oh,
and at the same time, I needed something else to kind of motivate me and to
sure.
hold me accountable. And in the same way that I encourage people who want to try something new, like swim or run a 5K or do a 10K or run a marathon, I just make them sign up for one. I say, okay,
Hmm.
let's find one that'll be fun. You're going to sign up for it. And if you back out at the end, it's not a big deal. And that used to be enough for me. But then I said, okay, I got to put a little bit more out there because these swims are getting kind of long and ridiculous. So there was a environmental group in Rhode Island called Clean Ocean Access, and Over the last 3 swims, I've raised, just over $250,000 for them. And it's been awesome because when I go and I do those races, about halfway in, my friend Liz, who does all the fundraising with me, she'll yell out what my grand total is as the money's coming in. And I'll know that, I have 500 people who are backing me right then and supporting me. And some people give for Clean Ocean Access because they know it's a great cause, but a lot of people also give because of the sobriety piece, because of what I represent in the world of sobriety. And I'm so outspoken in it, in the news and in the newspaper and what have you, that it ends up becoming sort of a message saying to the people out there, like, it's okay. Like, you can do this like Ben does. And that's what it's all about.
This is the Knocking Doors Down podcast, featuring celebrities, experts, and everyday people who have overcome adversities, including addiction, mental health, and trauma, to live purposeful lives. And that's what Knocking Doors Down is all about.